Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's get the show on the road.
Oh, yes. And it's time, guys. It is that time. With this loss this week, I think it's officially safe to say that we are not going to get the playoffs this year. Though mathematically, we're still technically in it. I think it's it's pretty safe bet.
Have a chance.
No, I'm not. Because we have to win out the rest of the season, and I think like 5 other teams need to lose out the rest of the season. It's one of those kind of scenarios. Like
the math is still there.
The math is there, but it's not going to happen. So we're going to give you guys a little taste of the draft here, because let's be honest, that's what we have left now. It's time to start discussing the draft here. So we're going to do our first mock draft of this season here, giving you guys all of our picks here for all 7 rounds here. We're not just going to cheap out and do the first round like some other people, or the first 3 rounds. No, we're going all goddamn 7 full metal jacket. Okay, that's where we're going. I think we haven't had a full metal jacket reference in a while. It was due. So let's go right into it, guys. So first off, for those who are curious, we use PFN's mock draft. I know some people are curious which one people use when they hear. I know I always am, but I use them because of the fact that they let you do all 7 rounds for free. Plus, they allow trades for free. Now, I will say, whenever we do a mock draft on here, we will not go trade crazy, because you easily can. You can easily go absolutely ballistic on trades and make so many trades where you have like 10,000 picks every single year. And that's not realistic. It's not going to happen. I think 2 to 3 trades is possible with Shane. He's done that in the past. Anything more than that, you go into the realm of just BS. Yeah. We don't want to be in the realm of BS. So, all right. So first up, obviously, we are now on pick number 7, according to PFN here. So we're going to go ahead and give you guys first who went the first couple picks, because we know everybody's always a little curious about that part too. Who went before us? So the Bears went first to Caleb Williams.
We keep going back and forth on this, so at least I do. I think they're going to keep with Fields. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is also early now in the season, so not early, but there's time for things to change. But part of me thinks like the Bears might try to trade away that number 1 pick for a lot of other picks.
And that's possible, but either way, I think Caleb Williams will be the first overall pick.
Yeah.
So, second pick is the New England Patriots. Drake May, of course, they took. So you got the 2 quarterbacks going 1 and 2, as most people suspect will be the scenario there. Number 3, the Cardinals went ahead and took Dallas Turner, the edge rusher out of Alabama. I think that was the first one that I was kind of like, oh, you don't really hear about the defensive guys going in the top 5, but it's possible, guys. It's not impossible for that to happen. So, interesting move, considering they could have gotten the guy who was considered the best edge rusher last year and traded that pick to the Texans so they can have their 2nd and 3rd overall picks last year. And now they get an extra first rounder this year. So maybe that's where they go later on for some offensive help. So number 4, the Washington, whatever the freak their name is. They get Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State there, which is an interesting choice. If there's one position they don't really need help on, it's wide receiver. It's almost as bad as the Falcons taking Bijan Robinson last year. Like, I get it. The talent's there, but yeah. Your line sucks. Your quarterback suspect. You just got rid of all your pass rushers. Yeah.
There's still a lot of time for football to happen where they might lose that 4 spot. I mean,
there's a lot of times we could also lose our spot. I mean, hell, it's but every single pick basically, except for the first pick. Number 5, the Chicago Bears get their own pick now, since obviously that first pick was their one from the Panthers trade, and they went ahead and took tackle Joe Alt, followed by the Jets being number 6 there and taking J.C. Latham tackle as well. So we got back-to-back tackles, trying to shore up some offensive line help for, I guess in this scenario, Caleb Williams, and obviously for Aaron Rodgers. And let's be honest, the Jets need all the offensive line help they can get. They're one of the few teams probably worse shape than we are in that. So yeah, we're up. The Giants are on the clock.
Oh snap!
And, yep. I looked at who was available, and I really still want a quarterback. And I look, okay, we lost the top receiver already in the draft. We lost the top 2 tackles. We lost the top 2 quarterbacks. And I felt like we were kind of reaching a little bit by going with those spots there. And while I never want to draft for need, I don't mind going back because then the value is not there at the positions of need, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to reach. So
exactly, I'm not reaching because of need, but I have no problem going up and getting what I need when I want later on. So, number 7, we had 2 different offers here. So we had the Bucks offered us pick 19, 53, 84, 2011, and a second next year. It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. But again, we're also going down 12 picks. The Rams offered us 21, 52, 83, and a second next year, but they also want to pick 136 from us on top of that. So I think it's pretty needless to say that I took the Bucks offer. Because, it's a much better offer. I mean, you're not giving up that second pick. You're getting a 4th pick this year. And otherwise, it's almost the same, offer. And you get a couple picks higher in this first round. So took them. They took Terrion Arnold, the cornerback out of Alabama, which I was kind of shocked. I was thinking they were moving up for a quarterback. And there was, it's that kind of thing. But nope, they took corner of all things. So we ended up at pick number 19. The only quarterback, because I know everybody's gonna be curious about that one there. The only cornerback that was taken that we lost a chance to get is J.J. McCarthy, who ended up going to the Cardinals at number 17. So I'm not not the quarterback that I would have taken either way. So therefore, I'm okay with that. I don't feel like I lost out on anything. So I looked at what was there and said, okay, where's our needs? We know that the quarterback's still there, obviously. Everybody except the, Caleb Drake and JJ now are still there. We know our needs here. Again, I said my needs is offensive line, wide receiver, and quarterback. A lot of offense here. Basically, if you're on the offensive side of the ball, we need you.
Come on to New York.
And because of the lack of quarterbacks being taken already, and there only being a few elite type of wide receiver prospects available, I went wide receiver, which I think might kind of shock some people. It was a risky move, I think. You could have easily gone ahead and lost out on all the quarterbacks by doing that. So we'll find out if I did later on here. But we got Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington, 6'3", 215 pounds. Pros for him is the size, route running, hands, yak, and plays through injuries. The guy really broke a rib and kept playing. That's awesome.
That's toughness.
I mean, you don't want to see him break his rib, don't get me wrong, but it's like you're doing that kind of thing, you're still playing. Yeah.
Especially, I don't want to see the guy get tackled after he broke a rib.
Yeah.
And it's just hanging up in there, just poking at things inside.
Ribbing the lung.
Yeah.
As far as the cons for him, it's mostly speed and explosiveness. And, I look at what we have already at the receiver room, what we're going to keep. Let's put it that way, because there's going to be some changes next year. Jalen Hyatt's going to be kept.
100%.
Darius Slayton's going to be kept. Wan'Dale Robinson's going to be kept. Those are the ones I'm looking at. And I'm going, okay, they're going to be here next year. Where does this person complement what we have? And are they the best on the board? He was the best on the board at the position at the time. And I think his skills are different. He's more of a possession type receiver, which is what we're missing in this type of offense that we have here.
Yes.
So I think good fit overall, good talent. And this is a guy that's going to project to do, 800 to 1,000 yards a season. And that we could use that. We could definitely use that. So, I won't blow it up and say he'll be a 13-yard receiver kind of guy because that's just insanity. But this is going to be a good receiver in the league there. All right.
And like you said, moving on. Like, are we gonna have Isaiah Hodgins next year?
We may. I don't think people are knocking the doors down for him per se.
No,
but I don't think he's a starter. I think Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins would be great depth pieces for us to keep. And then keep Wan'Dale, Jalen Hyatt, and in this case here, Adunze as a possession type receiver. So you got a possession type, a speed guy, and a slot guy.
Yeah.
Perfect combo. All right. On to the second round, pick number 38. And I got to say, I was tempted to move back up into the first round. And I still think it might be the best move to do because there was a couple of quarterbacks I like. There was one available that was still available as the first round was ending. And I was getting a little, my palms were sweaty. Mom spaghetti and all that stuff. There was definitely some M&M stuff going on. And I'm looking at it going, if I trade down, I get the 5th-year option out of this guy, which is big. I mean, that's why I remember, granted, we don't want to do Gettleman moves, but remember, that's why Gettleman moved down in the first round to take the best corner ever, DeAndre Baker. He wanted that 5th year of him, and he wanted to get the guy he wanted. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if the Giants pull that kind of move off to get the 5th-year option going in this scenario where we don't take the quarterback first. But I end up keeping where we're at. Ended up getting, with pick number 38, Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Does that school sound familiar? It's like we got the receiver from Washington, the quarterback from Washington. It's almost like he's going to come into the NFL already knowing people.
Best friends, high five in the locker room, throwing the ball at each other, giggling, child whipping each other.
Little schoolgirls. Michael Penix Jr., 6'3", 190 pounds. Pros, pre-snap reads. That's a big one for me because I'm tired of watching quarterbacks that can't read what's going on before the ball gets snapped. Accuracy. He's mobile, but he's not a run first. Very level-headed.
Yes.
Cons. His injury history. If you know anything on the quarterbacks and you know there's one guy who's had 2 ACL surgeries already, this is the guy. And this is the big knock on him. But he's been healthy for the last 2 years at Washington. So, I feel confident in taking him, knowing there's a risk. I'm not saying it's not a risk, but I feel confident in taking him going, okay, that was 2 years ago. He stayed healthy for 2 years. He's played through getting back from those surgeries for 2 years. I'm cool with it.
He's a young buck, but not the youngest out there either.
Yeah. Oh no, he's like 25 years old too. That's the other part. His size, he's only 190 pounds there, but you see that more and more now. That's becoming a thing now, getting the little guy. And he's still 6'3", so it's not like he's going to be like Bryce Young who can't see over the offensive line. Like that's not what it is. Like he's not wearing hooker boots.
Putting socks in his cleats to see over the line.
I'm telling you, they should try that in Carolina.
But he's got the size. He's got the frame where he can put on more size too.
Yes.
So especially with the NFL, good on NFL coaching, like he did, he took the year off for COVID, right? That was his case.
I'd have to look that one up specifically there for you.
I think that was why he's over. I think it was the whole COVID thing.
Well, he switched. No, he switched schools and went for 5 years. So. But everybody had a COVID year that regardless if they played or not, they were given the COVID year. So I mean, he's been around a little while there. So
yeah.
The other thing is he does go through some bad stretches, and he does have a slower release as well. But again, no quarterback or no player that you draft is perfect. None of them come without any kind of issues or concerns. Even the number 1 overall pick, he's a crybaby.
Literally goes crying to his mom.
Just saying. So you got the issue. On to pick number 45. 45. This is the pick we got from the Seattle Seahawks there in that Leonard Williams deal. And with that deal, we're getting a position we desperately need. And we already got a receiver, and we already got a quarterback, so you know where I'm going probably. We're going Donovan Jackson, guard at Ohio State. 6'4", 350 pounds. He's a big boy. Pros, quick, flexible, strong, has improved each year, which is the one thing I love seeing in prospects. I love seeing growth because it tells me they're not necessarily plateaued. They're growing each year. You may not have gotten the best of them. They'd say one more year, they might have been a first-round pick for all you know. Cons, footwork, balance, trouble with speed rushers.
I think we have that now.
You know what? You hear that a lot, really, and this is why we really need a new offensive line coach, because no matter who we get, they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to come in perfect. But this is, again, Ohio State's got a good offense. He's been a good part of that offense for a few years now. And I see things I like on him overall. And so I'm liking the idea of that because this is a guy who can step in a left guard. That's where he'd be stepping in. Left guard starting day one, no problem at all. And then right guard, you can just put Bredesen and Azudu, let the two of them fight it out and call it a day.
Yeah.
Assuming we re-sign Bredesen, but I think we will.
Probably.
Yeah. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute though. We forgot something. What about right tackle? Because that's a big issue, isn't it? Well, Evan Neal is going to get another year probably at right tackle.
Yeah, he's still a sophomore, so
but what did I say?
Freshman year, but yeah.
But what did I say? What did I say the Giants need to do? They need insurance policy just in case. Just in case he sucks. Or at the very worst, a swing tackle.
Yeah.
So pick number 53, which is the one we got in that Bucks trade there. Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Arizona. 6'5", 325 pounds. Explosive, high energy, good footwork, and it has shown sound technique at times. So he's got it down at times. The con side, though, his technique can be inconsistent. So you just got to kind of teach this guy to keep calm, keep doing the right things. Easier said than done. Some people, get stressed out and lose that. He's got shorter arms. He also tore his ACL in 22. So that's one thing that's got
perfect for the Giants.
A little bit worried. That's why he drafted him, because it's perfect. Exactly. Yeah. No, but seriously, he played good this year. This is his first year coming back off of it. By all accounts, he played just as good as he had in the past for Arizona. So remember,
which is a good sign.
Year. Yeah. Usually takes a year to get back. So the fact that he's already coming back and doesn't need that full, 1 year back on the field to look like his old self, that's a really good sign. So I'll take it.
Or he progressed, and recovered that fast, and he is better than what he was. It's just he's not showing it yet because of the ACL.
Yeah.
If that's the case, that's a pro. It's not a con.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that we got a lot of good potential out of this kid here. I really do, and I think it's a good move overall for us to get someone like him, though. But we'll have to see what happens here. All righty. Next up, we got pick number 69. Oh yes, pick number 69.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. We draft him, give and receive. Oh yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yes. Like most good 69s, there's a trade.
There's a fart.
I didn't even realize when I did the trade, but
yeah,
that it was pick 69. But we did trade.
That's usually what happens with 69. You just as soon as you get right there, it's gone.
Part of it is we have, because of the picks we got out of the Bucks, we have so many draft picks. And in my head, I was already thinking, like, we got too many picks. At some point, I'm going to trade with somebody for a pick for next year. And that's what the option was here. The Steelers had us give up our pick 69 and pick 167. In return, we got pick 68. So they wanted to drop down nine spots.
It was 78.
And gave up 78. Yeah. Did I say 68?
Yeah.
78. So we went down 9 spots overall and gave up a 6-rounder. But we got not just picks number 78, but we also got a 3rd-round pick the following year. That's highway robbery, I thought. Or seriously.
Yeah.
Like you're going down 9 picks in the 3rd round and giving up a 6th round, and you're getting a 3rd round for next year. Like, they must have been desperate for who they wanted. I'll put it that way. But with us now, pick number 78, I wanted to address another need we have. There's one room that we are so desperately thin on in defense. It's not even funny.
It's like we're living on the edge.
You can't help yourself from falling.
You're living on the edge.
Listen, Rob, just tell me what you think about your situation. Aggravation.
Frustration.
Chicken Little tells you that the sky is falling. Oh my God. Good old Aerosmith. Anyway, the edge room. We've talked about it all season long. We've got, obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau's coming in his own this year. Still needs to work on the run defense, but he's coming in his own at least as a pass rusher. Azeez Ojulari has shown once again to have injury issues, but he's been good on the field when he's been healthy. So I'm not trying to get rid of him. I think he kind of falls into that Darren Waller category where you can take him and you can keep him, but you have to understand he's going to be out at every point every year, basically. So, you need to have some backups. Jihad Ward, I still like overall, but he's definitely doesn't provide as good as reserve spot as he did last year. I think we kind of saw more of what he actually is this year. And besides that, what do you got?
No,
you got 2 players, Jack and shit. That's what you got, basically. So, yeah. So I said let's get one here. Let's go ahead and get somebody that can provide.
Let's split in the capital.
You know what? And I wouldn't mind it if the Giants were that team that went out and got some veteran pass rushers. I really wouldn't. We talked about that last offseason, but they just don't seem to want to do that for some reason, or unless veteran pass rushers just don't want to come to us. I don't know which one it is, but
I mean, also last year it was all about clearing up the cap, so it's not like about trying to spend the money.
I hear you, but
granted, you're not going to spend that much money on them, but
we have no pass rush in a blitzing defense. That's not a good combo. So we went ahead and picked number 78 and got Chris Braswell, edge out of Alabama, 6'3", 255 pounds, roll tide, Alabama. Besides the fact that he comes from a very good school, I looked at what he did. He's got good coverage skills, which comes handy in Wink's offense and Wink's defense because he likes to drop people back into coverage that usually pass rush and vice versa. He's quick, got very violent hands. He's a good blitzer. So blitzing and coverage skills, exactly what Wink wants. Cons wise, he's not the best tackler in the world. He's definitely that guy that some people goes right through his tackles. He's also too aggressive, which has led to issues with him being fooled by misdirection plays and so on. So definitely some things that needs to be taught on there. But again, you're getting a guy in the 3rd round that can cover and can blitz at the edge position.
So, we were talking about those violent hands too. This is like a yin and yang when it comes to violent hands and good tackler. Because if you're aggressive throwing those hands around, you're usually not good at grabbing your own hands when you're trying to tackle.
Yeah. I mean, leg tackles, things like that just don't work in this league, and they don't work in the SEC really either. That's as close as you get to being in the league without being in the league, basically.
Yeah, it's a fair statement.
I mean, you could easily sit there and say potentially that the SEC is stronger than the USFL and the XFL and the minor leagues now they have.
And the NFC South.
Damn. Be interesting what happened. In the new NFC South, Georgia, Alabama, Florida State, LSU. I guarantee that.
I'd love to see Alabama go play Atlanta right now.
They'd have more than 2 wins, that's for sure. All righty, on to number 84 here. And this is another one of the Bucks trades here. So that's what I'm saying. This was a good deal when we got this because we get to address a lot of needs and get a lot of rookies here at key positions we need without spending a lot of money. That's the key. We got number 84, Bucky Irving, running back out of Oregon.
You say because of the Bucks deal, we're going to get Bucky.
Bucky, yes. Bucky Barnes, the winter soldier.
Yes. He's got an amazing left arm.
Honestly, dude, we got to call him that if we do get this kid ever.
Yes.
Like, it'd be really cool if we actually drafted the people that I Look, we were right. All these months ago, we were right.
We did it on a mock draft.
5'10", 195 pounds. So he's definitely a smaller guy. But I'm looking at what's going on in this league right now and going, you know what? These smaller guys are making it.
I was about to say, look at
him. Look at over in Tennessee. They're back up. Yeah, I mean, they got some guys now that are smaller guys that are just getting it done. They may not have the longest careers in the world, but hello, what running back has a long career? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are so fast at so fast. But like if they're smart about how they get tackled, like they could still have a long career in the NFL. They're not going to be like a Derrick Henry that sits there and bull rushes everyone and like just fights all six guys.
Yeah, it's up to the teams to use them correctly at that point.
Yeah.
You know, don't sit there and say this is my 4th and 1 guy. Like, no, that's not your 4th and 1 guy.
No. That's not something to get decapitated.
You know, it's not your goal line guy. That's not what he is.
He's not the guy in the play action to come up for a block.
Yeah. Here's what he is, though. He's very good at outside runs specifically. He's patient, which is a huge thing. You never hear talked about enough with the running backs. Wait for the hole to form. Don't go into the hole before it's there. Wait. Sometimes it's key. Very good in open space. Got great vision. Is a good receiver as well. So this is another guy that we can go and sit there and have wing formations with him and Saquon and have them both go back to back. Because I do still think we'll have Saquon next year. Cons, small. We already talked about that. A little tinier.
Yeah.
Comes from a college system. So Oregon does not exactly run an NFL pro style offense. And that would worry me if it was a quarterback, but it doesn't worry me from a running back that we're going to have as like a third down running back and like that kind of guy. So therefore, I'm good with that. He's also got a limited route tree because again, it's not an NFL offense he's in. Some of that stuff's going to have to be taught. But again, that's fine. It's not that difficult to teach as long as they're good route runners.
Yeah, especially like if you got the vision and could understand the way the defense is coming at you, you could teach them like a few more routes.
Yeah.
It's not complicated.
Not an issue as far as I'm concerned there. All righty. Pick number 105. So
like
this was a pick that I didn't necessarily plan on taking, but this was a position in my head. I was like, you know what? If there's a good value spot here, maybe not the worst move to get one of these guys. And that's the defensive tackle position. We got rid of Leonard Williams, obviously. Who knows what's going to happen going forward with like guys like Robinson and Nacho and those kind of guys there. And it seems like every single year the Giants want to draft a defensive tackle. So it's logical to put one in each mock draft, basically. It's the truth, though. It's what they do, and that's fine with it. You know, let's be honest. The defensive line has been one of the strengths of the Giants over the last couple of years. So it's not necessarily failing. So, number 105, Michael Hall Jr. Now, he was ranked like number 65 on their big board and was still available at 105 too. So, it was a really good, get overall to have somebody that had that kind of rating still available at 105. 6'2", 280 pounds, hailing from Ohio State. Ohio. Pros, strong, physical, high motor. Some pass rush abilities as well. Again, Wink Martindale loves getting those guys to blitz from weird positions. Here's that guy. Yeah. Cons, shorter arms, issues with double teams, and not the greatest burst off the snap. So, still some things to get to work on necessarily. But if you got a guy that can create some inside penetration at 280 pounds, and when they see things like high motor, physical, What that tells you is this is a guy that should be coachable. High motor guys are typically very coachable. They do that because they want to show effort because they care. So I'll take a shot at a guy like that and pick a 105. I mean, you're talking that's like
yeah.
It's so far down the line that it's a 50-50 proposition those guys ever make it to begin with. So I'll take my chances.
Especially if he's ranked at 65 in most of these drafts. And you get 40 picks later.
Yeah, like you're talking a guy you should get in the the late second round, early third round at that point, and you're getting him much later. So go for it. Pick number 136.
136.
Another position that I thought to myself, if we can get a guy at this position, and it makes sense and the value's there, do it because it's a position I think we do need to add one person to. So I did. Adonis apparently agrees.
Yeah.
The dog is also in agreement. He's like, yes. That's because everybody likes a good tight end. That's what we got here.
Who doesn't?
Luke Lackey, tight end,
especially in the shower,
of Iowa. And here's the big thing as well that I want you to think about. Iowa is one of those spots that George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Sam Laporta all came from. This is a school that recently has had a ton of success. If you need a tight end and you can get the guy from Iowa later on in the draft, that's not a dumb spot to do it. So I'll take a guy who's obviously going to be well coached, obviously going to be coming from a place of success at a spot that we need a third tight end. Because let's be honest here, as much as we like Darren Waller, he's got the injury issues, and we don't know if we're going to keep him past this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's a unicorn, but once again, one of the best abilities is the availability, and when he's not there to play for you, we got to,
I honestly think they're going to talk him to restructuring his contract. I think that's what's going to happen.
Probably what's going to happen.
But even that scenario, if we do keep him, you're still going to have to account for him being out for part of the season.
Yeah,
so
I mean, you got Bellinger,
who's a blocker, basically. You got Cager, who is a borderline NFL talent, who's a former wide receiver. But he's been with us a couple of years. He's been a couple of years, and I'm not exactly overly impressed by Cager. So, not anti-Cager either, but I think if he's a guy I'd rather have in a practice squad that I call up when Waller gets hurt.
That's fair to say.
So, Luke here, 6'6", 253 pounds. Pros for him: strong, athletic, fluid in routes, good hands, and very good at contested catches, which is something we've been missing at the goal line. I feel like, ever since, basically Plexico shot himself.
Literally.
But seriously, I mean, he literally shot himself in the foot.
Yeah.
His leg was still close enough. How many people we brought in are supposed to be that kind of guy? You had a little bit of a glimpse of that with Isaiah Hodgins last year. Kenny Galladay was supposed to be that guy. I mean, Darren Waller was supposed to be that guy. Remember, they kept talking about how great he was in the end zone this year. Again, I'm not expecting a guy to pick at 136 to be the next, red zone threat for the team. But if he's good at it, even if he gets a couple extra touchdowns a year for us, that matters. That could be the difference of us winning a game or two. So I'll take it. Cons-wise for him, lacks top speed and still work in progress as a blocker. So this isn't your guy that's going to go a 9 route from the middle of the field and go crazy like Waller can do. But again, that's why you're getting him at 136. And like I said, still in work in progress as a blocker. I'm okay with that as long as the progress is there.
Yeah.
So, again, you take a shot in a kid from Iowa playing tight end. I'm sorry, but you have to at this point.
Yeah, especially with the history.
Yeah, you gotta. All right, we got one more pick left. One more. And this is a pick we got from the Buck trade again. Oh, yes.
Thanks, Bucks.
Pick 211. Javon Solomon, edge out of Troy. Now, my own personal mentality, when I pick guys late, I like one of two scenarios because I feel like this is the success things that I see over and over again with late picks. either you are somebody from a really small school who just didn't get, noticed because either the coaching wasn't that good where you come from, or, you weren't playing necessarily the highest level of talent, or you're somebody who was a backup on a really, really good team like Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, and you go, okay, well, he was blocked by somebody who was a first-round pick. He could be very, very good, just didn't get a lot of playing time. Those are the kind of guys I like looking at in the late rounds because those are the guys that tend to make it in the NFL. Yeah. So I'm looking at Troy going, that's a pretty small school here. And I'm looking at this kid. I like what I watched on him on tape here. So 6'2", 249 pounds. Got a very high motor. Again, I like the high motor guys. Good bend. You hear that often with edge rushers. You can either bend or you can't. Like you either are the master of the limbo or you're falling down the first time you do it. And he's not that guy. He's also not afraid to hit. He's got a little aggressiveness to him there. The cons for him is his overall strength. Again, he's only 249 pounds, which is probably about 10 pounds less than you'd like to see for a guy his size. Not necessarily the best at run stopping either. But if this is a guy that we can get with our last pick that we can pop in during obvious passing downs as a blitzing kind of guy, that's one of the things we haven't really had, I feel like, in this team the last couple of years. And again, not sure how much I expect out of a guy who's coming in at pick 211.
Yeah, I was about to say towards the end of the draft.
But if he is that kind of guy, then great. Like a Mathia Kiwanuka kind of guy, like a guy that you're not going to put in every down, but you're going to bring him in on passing downs. That's what I'd like to get. And like I said, not sure he necessarily has that level of talent because of the, where we're picking him from, but he's coming from a small school. So small schools don't just have bad competition. I don't want to say bad coaches, but they're not going to have as good as coaches as these larger schools have. And that's part of what you got to think about. There's room for growth because of those kind of things. You're going better talent when you're going from college to pros coaching wise. But when you go from a really small school, it's even better. It's even better. So, all right. To recap real quick on our first draft here. We got Rome Odunze, Washington, wide receiver. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback, Washington. Donovan Jackson, guard, Ohio State. Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona. Chris Braswell, edge, Alabama. Bucky Irving, running back, Oregon. Michael Hall Jr., defensive tackle, Ohio State. Luke Lackey, tight end out of Iowa. Javon Solomon, edge out of Troy. Now, on top of that, next year we gained the Bucks' second-round pick and the Steelers' third-round pick as well. So we did gain 2 extra picks next year out of this as well on top of that, which I think are pretty decent gets. Anytime we can add some picks for next year while also getting additional picks this year. So, 100%. All righty. So let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think overall. Did we make some bad moves? Make some good moves? Is there a player that you wish we had taken because there's a guy you really like in this? Is there a guy that we took you don't like maybe? Let us know. And we'll definitely respond, whether it's on while we're live here or on later on. So, all right. Now, we also got a course for you guys this episode here. We're going to go ahead and give you a quick rundown of all the games here. So this is going to be a quick rundown here. We're already 40 minutes in, obviously, because we did this. But I wanted to give you guys some look for optimism because let's be honest, we're all kind of bummed out at losing this game on Sunday because I know most of us thought we had a pretty good shot, if not, should be the favorite for this game here. So to lose like we did, not good. So before we do that real quick, we got to say salute to Raphael who's in the chat there. Raphael, salute. And let's go pay the bills, and then we're going to go get into everything here on this recap here for you.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Oh, yeah. And Rob's on silent because he went ahead and coughed during the video. And I told him if he makes a sound during the video, it's going to mute him. That's why I cut him off halfway through.
It always mutes me.
I know. Deb says, still not sold on Penix. You don't like Jaden Daniels. I don't dislike Jaden Daniels. He was actually gone when we picked in that second round. So yeah, I was hoping that he would be available or Penix would be available. I was willing to take a shot. As long as I had one of the two, I was going to be happy. So
yeah, it's a flip of a coin for me with those guys.
The nice thing is that I haven't done all the homework yet on the quarterbacks. So once I finish doing all that, I'll probably have a guy I'm more sold on. But it all depends on what Joe Shane is like. If he has that kind of confidence in somebody who's like, this is the guy I gotta have, then I wouldn't even take the wide receiver. I take them with the first round, call it a day, and move on. If that's your guy, that's your guy. Get your guy. Get your guy. The most important position in the entire team. Most important position in all sports. Take your shot. So, all right. Let's give our rundown real quick here for everybody here. Like I said, this will be a nice quick one for you guys here. So start off on Thursday, obviously. Back in the 14th there, the Chargers at the Raiders. If you haven't heard yet, you've been living under a rock, basically. The Raiders smashed the Chargers 63-21. It was so bad they literally fired the coach and GM afterwards.
I was surprised it wasn't fired at halftime.
We put it on Twitter, said I hope he got a good cardboard box with him because he definitely gonna need it.
Yeah.
And
then college football is now playing every set. It's on Saturday. So
we get Saturdays.
We had some Saturday football. Saturday. Let's be playing piano. Yeah, the Vikings at the Bengals.
Very nice.
The Bengals without Justin Burrow has been looking fantastic. They won 27, beating the Vikings 24, and putting the Bengals at the 6th seed in the AFC conference.
Oh, yes. Then we have the Steelers at the Colts. So Steelers just absolutely trashed the Colts just absolutely trashed the Steelers there. 30-13. I know, I changed it. 30-13 there. I mean, wow. That's just like absolutely killer there. Absolutely killer.
I was at a Christmas party and the host was a Steelers fan and I was just trashing him the whole time.
Wow. What kind of guest are you? Man opens up his home and you're just like.
Well, I brought a very, very high class bottle of bourbon, so he was fine with it.
Bourbon does tend to fix most things.
That's it. Up next, the Broncos went to Detroit playing the Lions. The Lions crushed the Broncos. Boy, was I wrong about that spread. 42-17.
Oh, you and I are both wrong on that one there. Oof.
Yeah.
I was right in the spread part, but I thought the Lions would win it.
Yeah, I thought the Broncos would keep it close to that defense, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah, no. The Broncos, smashed. Next up, we're on to Sunday. Falcons at the Panthers, which is one of the biggest upsets of the week, which is weird to say when both teams are under 500, but the Panthers just that bad that you never think they're going to win. People are literally selling tickets to the game at 49 cents a piece on StubHub. That's how bad it was. I'm not even kidding. That's not even a joke. It's the scary part.
I would have went to a game for 49
I would have too. You kidding me? I'd go like front row seats for $20. Done. I'm there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much the front row were. Don't get me wrong. I just make.
I mean, it would have also had to half the players, but
you know what though? You don't
for
get
$20 would be worth it.
You don't get that kind of option very often, and it's still two football teams that are not good. So therefore, it's going to be a good game. You figure,
And listen, I guess it was
a good game, especially if you're a Panthers fan, because the Panthers won their second game of the year. They doubled their win total. Did
it affect where they are at the draft?
It's 9-7. They won 9-7 there. So, yeah.
Woof. Up next is the Battle of the Bees. You hear me, B? You had the Bears going into Cleveland playing the Browns. This game was actually really good, very close, and it took it to the end where the Browns won 20-17, where they picked off Fields in the end zone with a Hail Mary, and they sat down on the 2-yard line to win the game. Wacko for Flacco. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that was one of the best games of the entire week. It really was.
Yeah, it was
Really
a really good game.
Another
We got stuck
upset.
watching Saints.
Yeah. Another upset we got here. The Bucks at the Packers. The Bucks just went into Lambeau and just smashed the Packers. I mean, you think they'd be not used to the cold weather being here in Tampa Bay, where it's like,
Especially not in Lambeau. It's an open field. It's not a dome.
No, it's not. And they just absolutely trashed them. So Bucks won 34-20. So kudos on them because listen, they still got that chance to win that division there at that point. There's them,
They
basically
look like
them and the Saints right now, and they're tied for the lead. So we'll see what happens.
They probably look like the favorite to win that very, very terrible division. And I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that this is one of the worst beatings that the Packers taken at home in regular season.
Listen, being that that's my now local team, now that I moved out here to Tampa Bay a few years ago, I will root for them whenever the Giants aren't playing them, obviously. For fandom comes first. And if there is a playoff game, considering the Giants will not be in it, I might go, depending how much tickets are.
Depend.
I'll still probably go in my Giants gear, but well. I'll dress then I dress up as the creamsicle pirate.
I was about to say you gotta go as a pirate.
Listen, if I wasn't already a diehard Giants fan when I moved down here, I would have definitely been that guy to dress up as the creamsicle pirate every single week. I'm sorry, but that's the coolest mascot ever, the coolest uniforms ever. They should bring them back for ever, basically. I know they sucked back then, but it's a cool uniform.
Yeah, do it.
They suck now anyway, so what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, next up.
Yeah, up next, you got the Jets going to Miami, another Florida game.
Ooh.
Where the Dolphins do what the Dolphins have been doing all year. They kick the crap out of the worst team. 30-0 Dolphins win. And Tyreek Hill was not in this game. So
yeah,
the guy that's going to get over 2,000 passing yards was not in this
receiving
game.
yards.
And they put receiving yards, and just put a shellacking on this Jets defense.
Yeah, it's the guy I really feel the worst for overall in this whole thing is Zach Wilson, and it's hard to feel bad for Zach Wilson. Let's be honest. He looks like that spoon-fed boy that just get handed everything in life. He does. He's got that look. He really does. Like
every time he smiles, you see that silver spoon.
Yeah, like it just looks it. And I don't know his family background besides the fact that his mom is not a horrible looking woman, to put it nicely.
No.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, you look at him and he, they keep bringing him up, bring him down, bring him up, bring him down. Not to sound like I'm making a T.I. song, bring him out here, but I mean, it's like when you see what's going on with him, and they use him, they bench him, they use him, they bench him, and now he wants to move on. You can tell it's pretty obvious. They want to move on as well. It's a mutual. They want to move on. And the whole story came out of him not wanting to play. And if you listen to everything that came out, he didn't want to play because he didn't want to get hurt, and then ruin his chances to go ahead and get a decent contract somewhere else next year. And sure enough, he comes back in and gets hurt.
Yeah, it's
so
poor guy.
I do feel bad for him. It's like, this thing's done. Move on. It's like when you're in that relationship, it's not going to work out, and just no one's called the time of death on it yet. Like that's where these two were at, the Jets and Zach Wilson. And luckily it's a concussion, and I hate to say luckily it's a concussion, but it's like at least it's something. But I'm saying it's at least something he'll move on from, and not have any issues with long term. Hopefully, it's not like he tore his ACL and to be out for another year or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that'd be the really bad scenario with that. But all right, next up, I want to talk about this game. If you really want to hear about this game, you can of course go to our post game here we did yesterday. Yeah. But it's Giants and Saints. Saints win 24-6 because we suck. Next up,
yeah. The battle of the T's, the TT. Texans at Titans.
The TT.
Texans win. The TT. Of the Tata. Texans win 19 to the Titans 16.
19 to the 16. You about to say that, weren't you? 19 to the 16. It's like a hip hop song starting off there. I don't know where it has to go because I can't really rap at all.
I was about to say I'm a terrible rapper.
Yes, I'm just not. Yeah, no. Anyway, next up, we got the Chiefs at the Patriots there, which we thought would be a killing, and it was. Chiefs win 27-17. The fun part about it, though, was Kadarius Toney strikes again. He had a catch in the game that should have been a catch, went right through his hands, got batted around, became an interception. And yet, things are not going well for him in Kansas City. I'm just going to say, no matter how good or bad the trade works out for Darren Waller, I want us to all remember that pick was the Kadarius Toney pick. No matter how good or bad Darren Waller ever is for us, even if it's a 1-year stretch he has with us and that's it, that trade was still good.
Yes.
It was the Kadarius Toney one. He's done a whole lot more for us than Kadarius Toney has ever done for the Chiefs this season. Last season obviously helped him win the Super Bowl, so they can't really complain about the trade on their end too much. Well, but
yeah, he has 20% of the time he's on the field. Between 10 and 20% of the time he's on the field, he has some good plays. And that's being conservative, like a high number, I guess, for him.
That's a really high number.
Yeah, but like you saw that in the Super Bowl, that small percentage time, like he got that touchdown, which was good for them, which, you know what? They beat the Eagles.
He's got 27 catches for 169 yards.
That's a fantastic year.
He still has not gone over 1,000 yards on his career. He's in year 3, folks.
He was supposed to be a legend.
Yeah. He's a legend in his own mind in the hip-hop world.
Oh, yeah.
Hip-Hop Anonymous. His lyrics are bottomless.
Up next, you got the Battle of the Reds over here. You got the Niners going into Arizona playing the Cardinals. Let's talk about shellacking. This game was close at first, but then the Niners blew the roof off this whole place. It was 45-29 Niners.
The roof is on fire.
We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker burn.
Motherfucker.
Burn.
We're so old.
Yeah.
Anybody in their 20s like, what song is that? But yeah. We're old. It hurts.
Just in the back.
Just in general, it hurts. But yeah, I mean, what's interesting in this whole thing is as much as the Niners definitely, crushed the Cardinals, I thought it was interesting the Cardinals at least put up 29 points on one of the better defenses in the league.
Yeah, they put 14 up pretty fast, right? 10 or 14 they put up pretty fast. But it's also a divisional game, so like I don't read into that too much. Especially how strong the defense has been most of the year. So
I still will.
And the Cardinals, they have put up points on some good teams. Like they shut out Dallas, which is also a better defense in this league.
They didn't put up a ton of points on Dallas. Dallas just sucked. That was the game that Dallas had like 2/3 of their offensive line out and everything. So
yeah, I'm just saying that they have the ability to put up some points.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got a team that can put up some points. The Commanders go to the Rams, and they got rammed. The Rams win 28-20.
Yeah. Given the Rams, I think the 7th seed in the playoff situation right now.
And the Commanders, by the way, are officially out of the playoff race. But
I'm pretty sure that was going into this game. They're officially out.
Mathematically after the game, when they're finally out of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the rumor is that Ron Rivera being gone at the end of the year is done. Like that's a done deal.
Oh yeah, no, there was a rumor that who was it? They interviewed someone, or they requested an interview.
They can't request an interview to the positions available.
There was something I saw on Twitter where they.
I know there are some teams having some unofficial talks, like the OC from the Lions has already talked to like 3 different teams. So he's definitely going to go. Ben Johnson, he's definitely going to go somewhere. But yeah, like I said, we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah. Up next was the game that I loved every single second of. You got the Cowboys going into Buffalo. What did I say?
If only it was a different team in blue uniform with red trim.
Yeah. I just said circle the wagon because the Bills win 31 to the Cowboys 10. The Cowboys, if they're not playing at home, are terrible.
I don't know about terrible.
And the Bills are on this. They're on a playoff run right now where they're looking to win out to get into the playoffs, where they actually have the opportunity to possibly mathematically still win that division.
Yeah, they kind of have to. They kind of have to. That's the only option they got is to go ahead and just win out. And they're a good enough team to do it. It's just they got to get their shit together.
Yeah, this is the make or break game for them, and they did what they had to do.
All right, we got one more game. One more. The Ravens at the Jaguars. And yeah, the Ravens proved what I've been saying. I think they are the top dog in the AFC. 23-7 they win overall. So yeah, it's a pretty dominating win there. I know obviously you still got some injury issues going on there with Trevor Lawrence, and you don't know if he got really the real Trevor Lawrence or not, but he was still playing.
No. They should have sat him last week. He has a high ankle sprain. There's no reason why.
Should have sat him in general. You already pretty much wrapped up the division necessarily. I mean, you can keep an eye on it, so to speak, in case it gets changed, obviously, because AFC South, it's them and the Texans basically is where you're at. But at this, actually, them and the Colts now, because they keep losing. Them and the Colts and the Texans are all in a 3-way tie.
Yeah,
I didn't realize the Colts were in the part of that yet.
They're in the playoff fun. Yeah,
I knew they were the playoffs. I knew they could be the playoffs, but I didn't realize they were in a 3-way tie with them now. So the Colts, Jaguars, and Texans all at 8-6.
Interesting.
Yeah. What's even more interesting? The Jags' record at home. You know what it is? 3-5.
I was about to say they've been awesome on the road and fantastic in London.
That's home too.
Yeah.
So they were 5-1 though. Away that means. That's interesting because the team that wins this is not going to get more than one home game there. The Colts 3-4 at home, 5-2 on the road.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Complete reverse, by the way, with the Texans. They're 5-2 at home and 3-4 on the road.
I was about to say. So you're saying that the Jaguars and Colts want to get the wild card position?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying watch out. They could be some dangerous teams actually in the postseason if they're on the road and they play better on the road. Just history does have a way of repeating itself there. So
food for thought.
All right. And then, of course, we got the last game going on right now as we're recording this here. So it's the Eagles right now up 10-0. They just go to field goal, actually. Yeah, so 10-0. The Eagles are up with about 6.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter there. So you have to go onto the NFL.com or something like that to go ahead and see who won the game in the end. So, all righty, guys. We will see you guys again Wednesday, as we go ahead and do our fun picks episode with the fun punishment for whoever loses. And Rob and I have already talked. I've lost. I'll tell you guys. We go back and forth every other week here. So next week is yours. I'm thinking of something really gross and disgusting for you. So I will have to eat freeze-dried durian. For those of you who don't know what durian is, just Google it. You'll see how disgusting it is. It's absolutely rancid, nasty. It tastes bad. It smells bad. Yeah, and it's just bad overall. So, but as of right now, if what I think was going to happen in this game happens, Rob will have won by one game. We'll see how this game ends up. But if the Eagles cover the spread and the over happens, dropping it really 1 by 1 point this entire week. One change. That's it. That's how close it's going to be. So let's see how that pans out. So we'll see you guys again Wednesday. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, now on Instagram as well. So again, if you guys haven't followed us on Instagram yet, follow us on Instagram. Fun. Oh yes, more metaverses for us. And of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn. Oh yes, and of course, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, all the fun ones there. So we will see you guys again Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time there. Now, there is a slight chance we might have to change the time frame on that one a little bit there, depending on some things there. So if we do, we will give you guys a heads up. We will schedule that out as soon as possible so you guys know that. But like I said, otherwise, should be good to go for 9 o'clock there. And we'll see you there. Like I said, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe. That's how you find out when the new episodes start coming through. Like, subscribe. That's the way. And of course, as always, Giant fans,
go G-Man!
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 Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?
Thank you to those who have signed up for our silver gold levels of membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.